Welcome to another episode of the Red Zone podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Point du Jour, and I'm going to start this podcast off with an appropriate lyric from a song that's really, kind of describes how the last Calgary Stampeder game went, or the last two, if you will. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. Yes, the Calgary Stampeders went from a super high to a just a so low. They won against the BC Lions, probably the hottest team in the CFL up to that point. That was about 2 weeks ago, won by 1 point. You're feeling super good, and then, you get to Ottawa, have to fly across the country. No excuses, though. 1 week of practice because of the smoke here in Alberta. And you get to Ottawa and you put up a stinker. 33-6. And this was not like Ottawa was just scoring touchdowns every time down. I think they only had maybe one offensive touchdown for the game. They were just scoring off of special teams. I think they had 7 there and a lot of field goals, but Calgary couldn't get anything going. They only had 6 points on the night thanks to Rene Paredes, and just nothing to really note about this game. Jake was efficient, but only 136 yards, and Ottawa's defense was getting to him. Not enough time in the pocket to throw, and just made Calgary very uncomfortable the entire game. And a guy to note, just for the CFL in general, other CFL teams, is Ottawa Redblacks receiver Kalil Pimpleton. He has been a name over the past few weeks to look out for because he had 7 receptions for 80 yards in this game. And then on the return, he had a return touchdown. He was just great the entire game. I think he had 162 punt return yards, and that is also including that one touchdown to start the second half, which was really, that put the game away because Calgary obviously just couldn't do anything on, it seemed like both sides of the ball. They couldn't stop Ottawa, and they couldn't score either. And Ottawa was just making tackles and really making it hard on the Stampeders to even get anything going. So you flush that one down the drain. You move on. You're at home this week against Toronto. You're undefeated at home this year, and you've won 8 out of your last 9 games against these Argos at home since the year 2014. And let's get to this preview because I think it's a nice segue into it. For Toronto, their starting quarterback, well, it's kind of up in the air right now. Is it going to be Cameron Dukes? Is it going to be Nick Arbuckle? They're coming off of a win, which saw Nick Arbuckle end the game. Cameron Dukes kind of, I guess, didn't... he only was 3 for 4, so he just went out of the game, was replaced by Nick Arbuckle. I don't know if he had an injury or anything, but they beat Winnipeg. Nick Arbuckle at least ended the game, and we'll see if he gets the start. He only had 87 yards, I'm pretty sure, against Winnipeg passing. And what was it again? He was 12 of 22, so not really that efficient and not many yards at all to speak of. So, yeah, Cam Dukes only played, a quarter, and then Nick Arbuckle came in for the last 3 and didn't really do anything offensively or yardage-wise, and they ended up pulling out the win against Winnipeg. So we'll see who gets to start at quarterback, but I think this is really going to come down to the defenses having their way in this game. It just looks like it, but every time I say it looks like a certain way, the defenses are going to dominate or the offenses, it's the total opposite. Or every time I think, because BC a few weeks ago, there's probably not a lot of expectation to win that game, but Calgary really stayed in it, and we thought VA was going to throw for over 300. He didn't even do that. So whatever I say, just don't trust. Just go with the opposite. So I think the defenses are really going to be very good in this game, but could be the other way around, and we could have an offensive explosion in this matchup. But we'll just have to wait and see. That is on Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock at McMahon Stadium. So looking forward to that one, and we'll see if the Calgary Stampeders can get back on track. But that will do it for this episode of the Red Zone podcast. I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you on our next episode next week. But until then, have a great day. Peace.